What's going on, everybody? Mortem here, this time bringing you my highlights for the Steam Spring Sale. As I cover a ton of video games, mostly using Steam as a platform to do so, when they're having big sales I like to cover it and highlight some notable deals. But for this particular video, I thought I would switch it up a little bit and focus primarily on titles with upcoming content or are relevant to future releases in some way, given that it is March, and I'm sure people's wallets would appreciate recovering from the holidays, Valentine's Day, etc. But the spring sale itself is going on from now until March 23rd, next Thursday, so for about a week. And like all of their sales, there are literally thousands of games participating, so if you don't see anything you like here, be sure to check the sale out for yourself. You're likely to find something, and I know for a fact that most of my favorite games happen to be on sale for this. But with no further ado, let's actually dive into it a little bit. Starting with Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous, my actual favorite game, which just recently dropped its new Shifter class DLC that added a class and content to the already pretty overwhelming in scope CRPG that sees us using the Pathfinder 1E system in the Wrath of the Righteous adventure path. But let's be real, most of my regular viewers know that already. However, nonetheless, the game is 70% off. You can pick the base game up for 15%, and the currently released DLCs are 50% off as well, so you can even pick those up for cheap, excluding, of course, The Last Sarkorians, which just released. However, they still are not done yet. There are at least 2 more DLCs coming, adding even more content to the title, so if you're looking to pick the base game up for cheap to check it out, now's a pretty good time to do so. And then next up we have Solasta, Crown of the Magister, an interpretation of 5e D&D, specifically the combat and the more tactical aspects therein, all presented in a pretty rules as written manner. However, Solasta also has a bunch of extra features such as co-op and multiplayer, multiple official campaigns, as well as a dungeon editor that allows you to play through player-generated content. And the reason we're talking about this game, which released a few years ago, is that it has another new campaign coming up called the Palace of Ice that will be releasing in a few months. That is bringing yet more races, another full campaign to play as, and increasing the level cap even farther to 16. So if you're curious about Solasta and are interested in its upcoming DLC, now is a great time to pick it up, as it is 65% off. You can buy the base game for about $14, and all of its DLC is like 20 to 30% off, which makes it pretty cheap to get caught up, provided you want to check it out. But then third up on the list, we have Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, a great game in its own right, but the reason it's on this list is simply for the people that want to check it out ahead of the launch of Jedi Survivor, which should be dropping at the end of April. So if you want to check out the first entry in the series ahead of the second one, you can pick it up for 90% off, which makes the game about $4. The game itself, however, is a sort of Souls-light in that it uses a lot of sort of Dark Souls-esque mechanics. However, it's all very tame. There's a lot of difficulty options, things to adjust. So you're bound to find a comfortable place to play the game on. And overall, it was a pretty great entry into the Star Wars franchise, which is why people enjoyed it so much that we're getting a sequel. So definitely worth checking out. And then we have Cyberpunk 2077, which you can pick up for half off. And honestly, there's a good chance you own this already, as despite it being such a divisive title upon its release, it nonetheless did sell very well. However, the reason I'm mentioning it as part of this sale is because, again, you can pick it up for half off, $30, and later this year we should be seeing the release of its expansion, Phantom Liberty, which is likely going to be the only one we get for the title, and this comes after a couple years worth of fixes and changes to the game that make it a better experience than was received on launch. And while, quite frankly, I don't think the game will ever amount to what it was supposed to be, or at least what it was marketed to be, it has nonetheless come a long way, and if you'd like to check it out ahead of its DLC drop, now's a pretty good time to pick it up. That, though, brings us to Marvel's Midnight Suns, a game that released relatively recently, and the main reason I'm talking about it is because I believe this is the first time it has been on sale, and in my own review of this title back in December, I gave it a buy on sale. As the game itself is a TRPG that mixes some character interactions with various Marvel heroes across the Abbey area, which is more of a friendship simulator. And then the other half of the game is the actual tactical combat, which is enjoyable. The Abbey part of the game was hit and miss for me, which is why I gave the game a buy on sale. And quite frankly, that sale is here. You can pick it up for half off, which is $30. So if you've been waiting to check this one out, now's a pretty good time to jump into it, because for this price, I think you can have a pretty enjoyable experience. Combine that with a couple of DLCs that add characters to the game that honestly are also a little bit expensive, and you've got a relatively robust offering. Alongside some DLC yet to come, again, I believe just adding more heroes and everything with a few short missions, so there is yet more to see, but at this price, I think it's worth taking a look at. And then I wanted to wrap this particular video up with a just short section on some of the stuff I personally bought, which is primarily games I plan on reviewing at some point, which include BioShock 2 and BioShock Infinite and all their DLC, alongside Geneforge 1 Mutagen. Now, simply put, for me, these are games I plan on reviewing and did not own yet, and picking up these particular games will absolutely keep me busy until the summer sale rolls along and I likely buy some more things. But I was able to pick up BioShock 2 and Infinite for like $12, and Geneforge I was able to pick up for about $7, though Geneforge Mutagen is actually a remake of the original title that launched back in 2001, which is part of a larger series of CRPGs that I have yet to get around to. And I'm excited to dive into that one. I also have to pick up the Avernum series at some point, but that is a ways off. That, however, is going to wrap up this particular video. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed the look at some of these games and some of the relevant content they have upcoming as well. If you did, like, comment, subscribe, all that YouTube jazz. Let me know down below what games you are picking up, deals you are particularly interested in, etc. But regardless, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. May you wander in wisdom and have an amazing day.